All right, so welcome to another episode of Powerhouse Conversation. This podcast where sports, technology, and business come together for to help student athletes for their game on and off the field. I'm your host, Fred Underwood, and today we're going to have a conversation with Marcus, and we'll go a little bit deeper into who Marcus is, but he's a leader that is making moves at the intersection of tech and sports. Marcus is with M1 Advisory Group, where he helps athletes like yourself transition from the playing field to successful careers in the tech industry. He's also the driving force in promoting diversity in sports business, having working in the past with Black sports professionals and organization that's dedicated to advancing black professionals. In this episode, we're going to dive deep into technology, and we're going to see how it's changing the business side of sports. Marcus, how are you doing? Thank you for coming on.
Yes, first, thanks for having me, Fred. I've been a big fan of Dream Big Sports, so super excited to be here, and everything's going well on my end. Just trying to stay out of the crazy weather in Phoenix.
Nah, definitely like we talked before. I definitely want to come out there, see how it is. I know it's hot, but yeah, I definitely want to visit. I know it looks beautiful out there.
Yes, most definitely. I'm sure you have a lot of fun out here.
For sure, for sure. So I want to start off with just tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got to where you are right now.
Yes, definitely. So as of right now, I currently work at ServiceNow, which is an IT software company. So here I work in the office of the president and COO as a senior customer advocate manager. So essentially, it's my job to support our president, executive leadership team with their top-to-top conversation as far as with C-level executives or other leaders of different customer partners, and making sure that the engagements are efficient as possible, and that we're really driving the desired business outcomes to help expand ServiceNow's presence as one of the leading IT software companies. Prior to that, I worked at SAP across a few different roles on the project management side, and also in our office of the CRO, and also in our professional services North America organization. And prior to that, played college basketball at Lincoln University, which is a HBCU. And I'm also previously worked across like BSP, Shakeout Inc., and also across the Dream Foundation as an advisory board member. So I've been blessed to get some exposure across sports business, technology, and some other areas as well that I'm really passionate about. So super excited to be here.
No, definitely. I appreciate it, especially with your background and everything that you've been able to see and been able to obviously see it from a student athlete yourself and then transition into the professional world. I think we'll have a really great conversation. I definitely wanted to start off with your career development sessions and the things that you're doing with M1 Advisory Group. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so essentially, M1 Advisory Group, the vision of it is to be a consulting firm that really meets individuals where they're at and helping to position them within the corporate space, because I know that can be difficult. So a little bit of my journey. So, due to me being a student athlete, I wasn't able to really rack up too many internships or really a lot of other experiences like many other student athletes were. So because of that, after during my MBA program, I was a little bit behind as far as figuring out how to find myself within the corporate space. So fortunate for me, I was able to figure out what to do, and I really 100% dove in as far as doing all the preparation needed as far as interview prep, positioning myself to get new opportunities. But I understand that a lot of people aren't necessarily exposed or don't know how to do that. So when M1 Advisory Group came about, it was my idea to really figure out how can I help people that were in the place that I was a couple of years ago and help them to find their way through the corporate world without having to do all the steps that I had to take. So that's really the vision behind it, really offering personalized career development services, really help people understand where they are today, what they need to do to get to where they want to be, and then figure out how to position themselves and really be able to successfully achieve that, while also leveraging the insights that I've gained over the years working at different corporations, understanding their hiring strategies, what they're looking for from Gen Z talent, and then pretty much helping to get people the cheat code on how to break in and achieve their career outcomes.
No, definitely. I love that. I love that. What are some of the key skills that you think that these student athletes need to be successful?
One of the biggest skills I think that most student athletes already have is grit and toughness. I think that's one of the most crucial skills to really make it within the corporate space. So I think a lot of people really rely on, high GPAs or, having flashy universities. But I think really being a gritty person, willing to do whatever it takes to win, I think that really goes a long way. And if you're not as skilled, I think you can really still make a way if you have that type of perspective. Another skill that's also very important is attitude and mentality, I think. So really coming in every day and trying to be someone that brings energy to the workplace instead of sucking energy out. I think that's really valuable. And that's something that I've always tried to model for myself is, am I making the room better? Am I figuring out a way to add to my teammates? Am I And if I'm having a bad day, am I taking away from them? If I am doing that, how can I reposition myself to help bring energy to the room and make everyone better? So that's why I always think. And then also being adaptable, in the corporate environment, things are changing constantly 24/7, especially in technology. So being someone that's always looking to learn, develop your skill set, and understand that how things are today, it may not be like that tomorrow. So you still have to figure out how to pivot yourself and still remain relevant no matter what's being thrown at you. So those are the few skills I think are very important within the corporate setting that actually student athletes typically have an advantage when they're pivoting into the corporate space.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Which actually brings me to my next question is why tech? Like I know you're in it, but tell the people why they should be getting into tech.
Yeah, so for my personal journey, I've always been someone that's really enjoyed playing with computers. So like since I was a kid, when I was not doing sports, I was always playing with my computer, like researching things, just like really just trying to understand how things work. So at first, while I did not actually go to undergrad for business or even like computer science, I ended up falling back in love with it and decided that's where I wanted to pursue my career path. So it ended up working out for me. But as far as technology, I think it's one of the highest growth industries out there. Also, there's so much opportunity. I think one of the biggest things is that there needs to be more faces like us within technology as far as, really increasing the representation and not making it where it's just, certain people who have access to opportunity, really making it where it's a more diverse space because I think technology is getting better at it, but it's still has a long way to go as far as diversity of thought and also representation. So I think everyone has a place within technology, no matter whether you're a coder, you're a sales rep, you're in finance. I think there's a place for everyone within technology. You don't have to be strictly technical. You can still find a way to contribute and add value to organizations and then be very successful within that space.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to bring up because I know a lot of people when they think of getting into tech, they think that you have to be able to code. They think that you have to be like super technical, and that's just the furthest from the truth because there's so many different avenues to get in, and there's so many different departments, right? I've been in tech sales for the last decade, right? And there's especially that's the other thing I wanted to get into is was the transferable skills that athletes have, and that's what like literally every interview I go into, I talk about those. My foundation of being able to be successful in sales is my transferable skills from being an athlete, right? I talk about that work ethic that I had to game. I talk about the team aspect that I have to be able to use to make your teammates better. Talk about the the drive and the competitiveness that you have to be in sales. Like so, it's always about finding those transferable skills. And I know that's something that you all have been honing in on with what you're doing over there in Warren Brown.
Yes, 100%. I think you're spot on about that as far as like the teamwork and just like being willing to work hard. I think those are really valuable skills, especially in sales where you have to be, ultra competitive, always trying to outdo yourself in what you did previous quarter to keep hitting your new goals. So I think all those traits are extremely important to be successful in that space.
Yep. And so talk to me a little bit about the just from a you talked about career, but like with athletes like LeBron and KD launching tech ventures, how do you see the future of athletes in tech evolving? Like just from collaboration standpoint.
Yes, I love what I've been seeing from some of the top athletes within technology as far as some of their technology ventures, as far as what they're investing in or organizations they're launching. I think it's really in a great place because I think the stereotype, which also has some truth to it previously, as far as athletes tended to mismanage their money in some cases, in the early 2000s. But I think the fact that they're getting more exposure to this new space as far as like venture capital or technology investing, I think is really fundamental to really helping the next generation find themselves within that area. And I think it's something that's very well needed. I'm loving to see what I'm seeing as far as like what they're investing in with AI, and then like some of their other investments across like other top industries. I think it's really cool to see, and I think it's really setting up the future as far as technology, because I think now more than ever, and probably in the future, sports and technology will be even more ingrained. So where pretty much it's not just like sports and like technology is nice to have. I think sports are going to be just as integrated with technology as far as streaming, how new stadiums are being built, and how they're being improving the fan experience, the employee experience. So I think technology will be even more crucial to what we see today on TV with sports and the professional athletes.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Like, just think about how they are building arenas. You think about the Clippers, right? Literally, in the fiber of everything is the fan experience, but it's using technology to create that fan experience. And I saw that, he has like a way to know how loud people are cheering, and based on how loud you're cheering, you'll get rewards points. Different sections will be able to different sections will be able to get different prizes by sponsors. So again, that's adding in like sponsorship dollars. So you just use the ability to utilize technology to do a lot of different things. I think the possibilities are endless.
Yes, definitely. And even like I see something recently on facial recognition software in some of these stadiums, they're actually able to kind of like do a snapshot and see every single person's face within the arena. I think that's just really it's interesting because I never really thought that they would do something like that, but it makes
Yeah.
total sense.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see how they use it though. I know it could be scary for a lot of people, but like it's like, okay, how are they going to utilize it for you know for the like there's always a play for fan engagement. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how that goes. But I definitely I want to go right back into just the role of technology in sports business, right? So how is technology reshaping the business side of sports, and how can athletes leverage that to take advantage?
Yes, as far as technology, one of the biggest things I think is streaming. Like before, you really have to rely on cable packages to really, boost your revenue as like whether you're a college program or an NBA franchise. But now with streaming, it really opens up the door to so many different things. So instead of just relying on your local TV market, or if you negotiate a national TV deal, you're really able to access worldwide viewers. So because of that, you really have a lot of room to expand your business growth. And then once you get eyes onto your sports game, then from there, you can probably increase like, ticket sales, then like jersey sales, just overall revenue for the business. So I think the return on investment for a lot of these technologies is really crucial for these sports organizations to continue to grow and reach new markets. And because of that as well, because they're getting more exposed to new areas across the world, that'll probably eventually continue to increase the amount of talent that we see because I feel like the more people see sports being played, the more they're going to be motivated to actually want to partake in it. And, while it may take us some time to see the results of that, over the next 15 to 20 years, we'll probably see more talent come along from these global regions to come and continue to play sports here.
Yeah, no, I also think you brought up a good point about the streaming. The student athletes, or just the athletes in general, are going to be capitalizing. As you see, the pros are doing more and more streaming from podcasts and things of that nature, and then they're leveraging those streaming opportunities to get deals. And I think that is going to be huge for instant way athletes, because the more and more they get into this streaming, that is going to allow them to find more and more NIL opportunities and find more and more partners for that. Just getting on streaming platforms and being themselves, and then being able to reap the benefits of it.
Yes, I love that point too because traditionally I feel like a lot of the sponsorships and the big media was reserved for the top players like Kevin Durant, LeBron, Steph Curry. But now you're seeing players who may not have the most spectacular career, but they may have interesting, off the court takes, or maybe they're doing great things. This is that they're able to leverage to get visibility, and then, like you said, turn it to sponsorship dollars or new opportunities off the court or off the field. So I think that's probably the cool thing is the fact that it's opening up the economy just for not just the stars, but also just pretty much anyone within sports that has a brand that they're able to build.
Yeah, I think the marketability is an important point. Like you said, I think you bring up a good point of, like, it's not always about, at this point, it's not always about how good you are on the court or on the field. If you are marketable, then brands will pay you money to do whatever you're doing. When you think about I think it was the Cabinet twins. They were down in Miami, and I think they stopped playing basketball. I think recently, but they make so much money off of the court. Like, it's like, okay, well, we're marketable. People love us. We have a large following. Like, we're gonna be able to make money, and they're using social media to do it, and that's just big to the business.
Yes, definitely. I think it's a great tool. I think it's great to see that they're able to capitalize on things outside of their athletic talents.
Yeah. How important do you feel like just understanding analytics? I know you're on the tech side. Like talk to me a little bit about, as an athlete, understanding analytics, and from the business side of things, right? Obviously, they're using analytics on the court, when even when they don't necessarily know it, but the coaches are using it. So as a student athlete, like, how could they leverage analytics?
Yes, I think this translates whether you're a student athlete or you're a business professional. I think at the end of the day, everyone's mind is on how can I get better. So for a student athlete, say for example, you're a basketball player, you're shooting 35% from the 3-point line. Like it's relevant to know this analytics to see how you can continue to get better to push to get to 40% to keep getting better. So I think really having a understanding of what numbers you're seeing and what the insights are telling you, and then like being able to like visualize that and see like what path you can do to get to your desired outcome. I think that's extremely important. So I think like all these AI tools, I think they're going to really help players continue to develop their skill sets and figure out ways to get better, because really being able to see where they stand as far as statistically, whether it's comparing themselves across all athletes across the country within their division or, in their position, I think that's really useful to see where they rank and how they can continue to rise up the ladder that way. So I think it's a great way to really continue to get better and improve your game, whether you're an athlete or a business professional.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like when you're talking about it, they're using it as an athlete, but when you're talking about like you said, transitioning into the professional realm, just understanding how to use those uh those same data points. Like it could be if they're managing their own NIL, like okay, well if I sold X amount of shirts, how many, posts to drive more revenue, right? Because you're looking at those stats from the posts, from the social media posts, and then understanding where you need to make those changes. So basically going right back to the transferable skills, and that's taking that data that you were able to like I need to take X amount of shots to improve my 3-point percentage. It's the same thing as when you're going to the from the social media standpoint is like, okay, well, let's analyze these posts. Like let's go in and let's really have a deep dive on what I need to do differently, and what I need to do to change and grow my following, or grow the engagement that I'm getting on these posts, because that's what's going to be important to these brands that want to make deals with you.
Yes, exactly. I think, a lot of people are kind of intimidated by seeing, like, a lot of numbers, because myself, I'm not really a big numbers guy either. So I totally understand. But I believe that numbers really tell you a story if you actually understand like how to read it and like what you're looking for. I think it really, help you get to what you want to do.
Yep. So I want to take a pivot to just talk about your time at Black Sports Professionals, right? So just advocacy and diversity in sports. Tell me a little bit about some of the diversity initiatives that you saw and how it's evolving in the sports industry right now.
Yeah, so Black Sports Professionals, I had the pleasure of joining them, I believe, in late 2022 while I was living in Houston, Texas. It's an amazing group to be a part of. So pretty much the gist of it is pretty much figuring out how to put all different Black professionals, sports professionals across different leagues, whether it's the NBA, MLB, NHL, MLS, and put them together and figure out how they can all come together as a community to help each other out. Because, at the end of the day, a lot of Black professionals are underrepresented within their respective sport that they're in, what they're working in. So figuring out how we can all pull each other up, having someone that you can bounce ideas off of that looks like you, that understands your struggles, what you've been through, and then also like people, as a mentorship program as far as having people ahead of you that can really give you advice and different, insights on how to move your career up. And then so it's pretty much a tight knit group. They have a lot of chapters across the country, so I highly recommend for people, whether you're actually a professional working for a professional sports team, or even if you're just like a tech professional, for example, that's interested in sports. I think it's a great organization to join, just to understand what's always happening within the sports community. As far as different initiatives, so during my time there, I got to work on the sponsorships team for the Houston chapter. So one of the cool things that we got to do while I was there was we worked with the Unity Foundation, the 50 Cents Foundation, and the Houston Rockets to host a career fair for 2 years. So I was there from 2022 and 2023, those career fairs. So those are 2023 and 2024. My apologies. So those are really good career fairs. So pretty much we got to bring a lot of students, mainly from HBCUs and also some local schools at the University of Houston or like Rice University. Brought them to the Houston Rockets arena. Got to do a career fair for them where we had some different executive leaders from the local Houston area pretty much present what their career paths were, some of the things they learned, and insight on how they can reach their place down the line. So we had a lot of great leaders. For example, we had the CMO of the Houston Rockets, some people from, I believe, Honeywell, and someone from the MLS, if I'm not mistaken. So we had quite a few really good guests that really shared their path. It was really insightful. So whether you're a college student yourself or a professional like myself, it was a lot of gems and a lot of good takeaways. And also a lot of people got really connected with people that they ended up getting jobs with months down the line. So it was a really successful event. Also, 50 Cent himself came in and participated, kind of gave some speeches, some words of wisdom as far as business and how to navigate these settings. So it was a really useful experience. And also some of the cool things we also got to do in the community where we got to do the Cactus Jack Foundation as far as supporting that. So that's the foundation that Travis Scott owns, and he does a lot of great community work. So I got to work with the HBCU baseball classic he hosts in Houston. So that was a great experience as far as being able to help, HBCU baseball get some more visibility and be able to play in a large stadium like the Minute Maid Park where the Astros plays is a great experience for those people. So it was really good to be able to be a part of that. So that's some of the cool work that BSP has done. And they do so much other cool work across the country as well outside the Houston chapter.
That's dope. That's dope. I like that. I like that. What advice would you give someone trying to break into sports as a black professional?
One of the things I think for any industry is really relying on your networks. If you're not like weren't fortunate to, be born into a family where you're already connected to that, I think leveraging tools like LinkedIn, Instagram, I think is really useful to really understand what these professionals are doing, understand what paths they took, and then not necessarily understand the paths they took to necessarily copy it, but understanding it, to kind of brainstorm what path you can take based on your specific situation. Then putting yourself out there as far as going to different conferences, networking events, joining organizations like BSP to put yourself around those professionals. Because I think a lot of times for myself, like I kind of had a vision as far as what professional would look like. But once you really get in the room with them, understand their journeys and things like that, you realize that you do belong. You may be some years behind them as far as where they are today, but if you keep working, taking it day by day, getting 1% better, you can become that long term. So I think really putting yourself in a room with them, understanding who they are, understanding like what they did to get there, I think that goes a long way. And eventually, if you keep networking, keep working on your individual skill set, understand your personal superpowers and how you can best highlight that and articulate that to people that are hiring, I think it sets you up for great success long term.
No, I love that. I think you brought up a good point. Just going to networking events, right? And that's something that I know a lot of people probably struggle with. What's your advice to the people and how to strategically maneuver around a networking event?
First thing I say is like actually know what you're going there for. So pretty much like every time I go to a networking event, I kind of have like three desired outcomes in mind as far as like what I'm looking to do, whether it's speaking with certain individuals, getting exposed to certain areas, and then pretty much just trying to execute on that. And then also at the same time, when you're having a conversation with people, I don't always think it's good to come at like I don't always come with a certain expectation from a conversation. I look at it more as an attempt for me. So like understand like, okay, I'm going to approach 10 people today. Whether this conversation leads to anything, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and just approach 10 people. I think like if you think like that and just put yourself out there and just try things out, sometimes you'll be surprised about how good the outcome is. And then the worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you can say, hey, at least I tried, I put my best foot forward. So just I kind of coming in with a strategy, understanding who you should connect with, and then just really putting yourself out there and just trying new things, kind of setting goals for yourself, like almost like a quota. So like, trying to get, 5 new contacts out of this, 3-hour networking event or, participating in different conversations, learning about 3 new industries. So like kind of just like trying to challenge yourself and then
Yeah.
make it a little bit fun. So you're not just like, just sitting in a networking event and not feeling you're getting much value out of it, but figure out ways to challenge yourself to really make sure you're putting your best forward and getting what you want out of the event.
Yeah, no, I like it's actually it's especially as a athlete. I think that what you just said is key because now it gives all athletes have this competitive, you know, switch in their head, right? So if you make a game out of it, you gamify it, then it allows you to be able to go into that and like, hey, I'm going for 10 people and challenge yourself. And I'm going like, okay, well, I'm at 10, I'm gonna do 15, like whatever it may be. But like just going into it and having a strategy, but also making a game out of it, and then that's how you're going to be able to be successful. Because if you do that, then you're more than likely gonna have some type of success, especially if you have a strategy going into it.
Yes, exactly. That's pretty much how I like to do everything. I try to make everything like a game for myself as far as just challenging myself. So, like, say for example, going to a basketball game, like, okay, I'm trying to get 20 points. First half, you should be at 10 points. So then, if you're under that, okay, I got to pick it up in the second half. So that's how I try to just think about like pretty much everything. It's like, how can I make this a game? And one, make it fun and enjoyable for myself so it's not a chore. But then two, just to push my limits on things.
Yep. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I want to go back to the transferable skills. And that is very important to you going into your next venture. So tell me a little bit about your goals for helping student athletes go into their next venture and how you all go about doing it.
Yeah, so one of my goals is really help athletes understand that they're bigger than their sport. Like one of the things I just realized over my time playing sports is that a lot of people, like when they don't end up making it professional, a lot of them are very lost. So like that's something I've unfortunately seen a lot over the years where they kind of struggle with that when their 4 years of eligibility is up, as far as like how do I really find myself, like who am I without basketball, football, baseball. It's like a lot of people really don't know that. So it's helping them understand, like, okay, you're not making professional, you may not have hit the exact goal that you had set out for yourself, but you can still be very successful in this life. You can really pivot all the things you learned as a baseball, basketball, football player, and leverage that to be a successful in the corporate space, or even, in the public sector. That's what you're interested in. So like, there's a lot of different things you can do. So really it's helping them be confident, understand who they are as an individual, and then like applying those skill sets. That's a lot of things that I believe in. So really just sitting down with them, meeting them where they are. Some people are more advanced as far as, like understanding exactly what they want to be with their career. Others may not really have much guidance on that because they may not really been exposed to that over their childhood, for example. So really just understanding who they are and then just kind of painting the vision for them. I think for a lot of people, if you're really able to sell the vision as far as like what they can be, if they really invest in themselves or take these steps seriously, I think that's really the push that a lot of people need to really, get started. Because I think that's the most difficult part. It's not necessarily the journey that comes with the ups and downs as well, but actually just taking that first step forward and getting started. So that's what I'm all about, just kind of just help people realize who they are, help them get their swagger back, and then getting that first step going. And you'll be surprised how far people can go from there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I know we're coming to the close, but I always ask, this is Dream Big Sports. So I want you to give advice for our student athletes on just dreaming big. Like what is your advice on how to dream big?
I'll dream big. One of the things is like really just like sit there and like ask yourself, like, what you really want out of life, as far as like, what do you want, what you're willing to do for it, as far as like how much effort you're willing to put in, and then it's kind of starting to take action on that. And really just having mentors. I think that's a very powerful thing that I've always did, is try to find ahead of me that kind of, I don't really believe in necessarily idolizing people, but as far as like I like what they have in this area for a second. For example, I may like someone that does something good in business, but I may like how someone else does something in fitness, for example. So kind of like saying like who your role models are, then kind of try to make your own style on that. And that's how I think you really dream big, as far as understanding what you're really trying to shoot for and how your individual skill sets can really help you to get there. So that's what I really believe in.
Love it. I love it. As we close, I want you to tell the people a little bit more about what's next for M1 Advisory Group, and tell them
Yeah, so right now we're all about securing clients. So pretty much I've been connecting with a lot of different student athletes and also just general college students, as far as help them to understand how they can reach their career outcomes with M1 Advisory Group and how we can be their partner through that whole process. So that's what I've really been doing as far as connecting with them, is building rapport and getting out to different universities, community events, networking events, and really just build awareness of our brand, and also leveraging social media. So that's been great. If you want to find me, they can connect with me on LinkedIn at Marcus Stevenson, also through Instagram at Marcus.513. And they're interested in learning more about M1 Advisory Group, they can also meet us at M1 Advisory Group on Instagram, and also on the internet at www.m1advisorygroup.com.
Well, again, Marcus, thanks for dropping in and giving us a lot of knowledge on career development and how you all are helping athletes and college students get into tech. I definitely think that this was a great conversation for the athletes and the listeners, because this is something that it's going to happen for everyone, right? You can only play sports for so long, and I think that if you understand your transferable skills, you understand how to adapt, to learn, and then push beyond your comfort zone, I think that you all will be able to help them be as successful as possible. And that's something that we strive for on Dream Big Sports, especially with we're bringing this podcast together, where we are making sure that they are having the playbook for success and being able to be successful in sports, business, and also utilize that technology. So I want everybody to make sure they follow M1 Advisory Group and Marcus on all social media platforms. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow Powerhouse Conversations. And we have some more amazing guests just like Marcus coming on for the rest of the year. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Keep dreaming big.